Okay, so let's talk about XeSS2.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on here. You've got upscaling, you've got frame gen, and then you've got latency management.
Yes.
Which is kind of the trifecta that it seems like everybody's landed on at this point.
It's necessary.
Yeah, it seems like the latency management and the frame gen kind of go hand in hand. But let's start with upscaling, because this is a new version of XeSS.
Mm-hmm.
The first
it's got a 2 on it.
Has it? Yeah.
Well, it does. XeS2 is the collector. So it's all these technologies, and we've sub-branded them each, so people can have switches if they want.
Oh.
XeSS SR, XeSS FG, and XeLL.
So from an implementation perspective, there's a bunch of interesting things happening here. So you have driver level support for some of this stuff as well, which means it just applies to everything theoretically. But from an implementation standpoint, are there additional plugins now for frame gen and low latency, and you're still using the old XeSS plugin so your old XeSS 1 upscaling games will work with the XeSS 2 hardware and the new cards?
So the way to think about it is there's a different SDK for XeSS SR versus XeSS FG versus XeSS LL.
And they're all, I assume the implementation for them is your Unity or Unreal plugin, but it's the half day of engineer time.
Yeah, and if you think about it, these SDKs, I call them, are very similar to other vendors.
Okay.
So if you've done the work for, say, DLSS 3, or you've done the work for Reflex, or you've done the work for DLSS 2, you'll find integration with our stuff to be very, very similar. And over time, you'll see plugins for most of the major game engines.
It's the typical thing where you expose the vectors and the frame buffer and all that stuff.
Exactly.
And then,
Exactly.